Knicks and Bruises, we are back in the building. I got Queens Court. I got Still Knicks fan Ron here. Appreciate you guys joining me.
Absolutely.
Um, I'm gonna just
Always a
start
pleasure.
off, man. They keep playing like this, and I'm gonna have to add some more clips to my intro, cause we going through these Knicks and Bruises right now,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be the focal point of my discussion, and then we'll talk about what we got to do to win this game. We talked about it briefly with Sim, nothing but Knicks, and we just elaborate or just repeat ourselves, and
Right.
but we get it going. But I mean, my first question for you guys, is question and comment. But when are the starters gonna actually catch up to the bench? Early in the season, I think we were a little concerned with the bench because it seemed like only Rose was you know showing up and playing the way we know he's capable of. But as of late, we've seen the bench close out pretty much two games. Bring the team back when the starters had no energy. Um, and then like I said in some show, coming into the season, I was like, yo, we got four guys that legitimately give you 20 plus on any given night, and you know at this point, I think we could win games with just two of them giving us 20 plus points a night. But now we're not even seeing it from one guy, or barely seeing it from one guy on a particular night. So that's my biggest concern right now. What are your guys' thoughts, and if you think you can answer when we're gonna see this thing start to fall in line?
Hmm. Well, I'll jump in first because I'm ready, and I think we're going to see it. I think it's tonight. I think tonight's the night. I think the fact that Tibbs had some nice practice action with the Knicks, finally got to be able to go over some stuff, and I'm sure to see the good thing about practice is not just to go try to implement new things. It's also getting to see what you don't like on court and correct it
Right.
right then and there. So I think that definitely was a good thing for this Nick team, and I think they'll benefit from it. And I expect them to play really well tonight. And if I'm correct, then we should see something really cool from them. And I also think not only just effort, I think the starting lineup is going to move better. I think they might finally have some sense of direction that they haven't been having in the past few games. It seems like they've been on their own out there, and Tibbs is just kind of giving them a little orchestration, but kind of letting them figure it out.
Hmm.
Kind of like back in the day when we used to see the old Popovich teams or the old Pat Riley teams where things would be getting crazy, and normally a coach would call a timeout, but he just let them. They both let them play. Well, I kind of feel like Tibbs has been seeing a lot of stuff and kind of just letting them play through it, good or bad. So I hope tonight's different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope you're right, Ron. And I know you've been saying that for a while, that once they get to practice and get a few more practices under their belt, they'll be able to straighten some things out. I hope that happens. One of the things I'm noticing, and I'm not sure it could be straightened out. Um, I think it would take a lot to straighten out, and I've seen it, but I guess I've come to the revelation that Randall just doesn't need to be facilitating the offense, and he's been doing that since last year. Though I don't think that's something that's easy to change. He can bring the ball up the court. And I don't even think that's the issue because you see that all the time in the NBA. Somebody else will bring it up, but then they'll pass it to the point guard for the point guard to run, the
Hmm.
offense. So to me, that's not as much of an issue as I even thought. But even when somebody else brings the ball down, he's right at the top of the key with his hands asking, for them to give it to him. And in all fairness to him, he doesn't take the shot. He swings it and he runs it off. But the point is he has to have the ball in his hand. He has to be facilitating. And I just think that, maybe Kimba feels like I can facilitate. Maybe that was, it was his role,
Hmm.
in Charlotte. And so maybe, it's hard for him to find his spot, his place when Randall is the one running through the offense. And I'm not sure how you change that. That's something that has to come from the top. That's something where
Hmm.
the coach has to say, look, we just need you to get to your spots. It's going to be easier for you. You'll be more efficient, less turnovers. Just let them handle the ball handling duties, the facilitation duties. You're a major cog in this offense. You are going to get your shots. But Randall just feels like he's a point forward. He feels like he's
Hmm.
a point guard, and he needs the one to be the one to do it. I would be shocked if that's fixed tonight, and I think that that's a big issue. Yeah.
I kind of, I agree with you, like almost 100%. And shout out to international Andy, because I agreed with him a little bit with his take as well. Um, Minus it being called like selfishness or anything of that nature, or it
Right.
um. But I think it. The only part I disagree with you, or
Mhm.
not even disagree, but just to add, I think it has to come from Tibbs, but it could also come from Julius if he can recognize it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
but I agree 100%, because it's almost like he knows his role, right? He knows he's the guy, he's the go-to guy, he's the leader, etc., etc. But sometimes you can lead from afar, or you could step back and lead. You know what I mean? Sometimes leadership is recognizing that maybe for this particular team we need Kemba to step into a more defined role, and maybe dictate some of the offense, or what goes down. And I think it kind of makes it awkward for it makes it more awkward for Kimba, because he's used to being in that role. So now he's
Mhm.
adjusted. It makes it awkward for Randall as well. You keep your role, but you have guys here that you want them to do kind of which the players you had last year
Right.
did. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you're not giving them the full range to explore every option that they can that's in their arsenal. It's limited their arsenal to, if you do this and do this and do this, like we could be successful, but I can do more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he has to realize, like, Kimber, you could do more. Maybe get me some easy shots. That's what I've been waiting for, the easy shots to come for Randall, and we haven't seen that yet. Everything is self-made. But we have guys
Yeah.
that can get you some easy shots. So
Right.
we have to reach that point. I'm not gonna panic though until game 21. You know what I mean? If game 21 looks funny, then you're gonna really see a Knicks and Bruises episode. You might see the intro modified. Um, but at this point, I was telling Andy off air. I'm like, if we started the season uh 1-5, and we were at this point right now, record wise, I think the perception would be a lot different. You know what I mean? It's still early. We were winning while we admitted that we were not at full capacity, or the gel wasn't there yet. We were just winning some games. Now we're losing some games, and we could see that chemistry issue. You know what I mean? We could see and focus on it. But again, it's still early with two new guys implemented into the starting lineup, and pretty much at this point having to adjust their roles. It's gonna take time.
It's not taking time in Chicago, and I know every team is different. Um, we can wait till 21 games, but I'm with Tibbs. Then we're gonna say 30. Then
Hmm.
we're gonna say 40.
I mean,
you know?
I mean, hey, I want it to happen as soon as possible.
Right, right.
But it is what it is. I'm just saying personally, like after 20 game 21, if it look ugly, you're gonna see a different. It's not gonna be optimistic me.
Right.
It's gonna be, the reason I started this channel, and I'm gonna be real critical of some of
Mhm.
these things that I think can be fixed. And Tibbs, he's right, but you in that boat too, but buddy,
Yeah, no
you, you,
doubt.
you know what I mean? Like you, you
No
as
doubt.
as the team goes, you go. So
Right.
you
Right.
know you, it's not gonna just be they got to do this, and you know what I mean. It's gonna be, you're gonna have to look in the mirror too, Mr. Thibodeau, and fix some things. So but yeah, I still think it's early. And then the Chicago thing, they started hot, they're doing great, but I mean it could, the switch could fall off. You know what I mean? Like again, it's still early, meaning so a lot of teams jump off to a hot start, and that's early in the season when pretty much the entire league is figuring things out. So,
But you can look. It's
Right.
not even about the wins or the losses. It's about how you're looking
hmm
in the game. So, like, there are some teams that's losing, but you could look at them and you could
hmm
tell they're gelling, they're getting it together. At some point, they're going to start winning games. Chicago, when you look at them, I'm not seeing a lot of,
flaws.
a lot of issues, but they and Vucevic is out as well. But anyway, I just say that just to say, some teams get it together quicker than others.
Yeah,
Well, I
and
mean, and I was going to say, Tony, I didn't mean to cut you off.
now go ahead.
I mean, quite frankly, look, they did a better job in the off season than we did, but it's not, I'm not going to say it's any indictment on our front office. It's more of those players wanted to go to Chicago. Like Lonzo wanted to go to Chicago for whatever reason. And so therefore it turned out all right.
Do
I
we
don't
know that?
necessarily,
Were you able to gather that information? Because that's what I was wondering as well. Did the
yeah,
Knicks
yeah,
go after
apparently,
him and he didn't want to? Okay,
yeah, apparently he wanted to go to Chicago. I don't know why,
okay,
but
okay,
apparently that's what people have been saying. Like he wanted to go there.
okay.
So I mean, if that's the case, then what are we gonna do? We couldn't get him,
Right.
which would have been nice. I would have been happy with any one of those three. Maybe not DeRozan as much. I would have been more happy with Lonzo, but I definitely would have been happy with Caruso. Caruso will look great on this team right now.
Listen, DeRozan would have looked good.
I I,
No,
I
I know.
He
I'm
can't
on
hit the
I'm on
three, but
record.
people over. I thought people was overrating that anyway. But go ahead, Tony.
I was on record of saying I wanted DeRozan, and people thought I was nuts. So
Yeah.
and I like what Chicago did, to be honest. Like you can't deny it. They definitely improved. Um I mean they clicking on all cylinders. I don't know. I think they had a high floor anyway. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if their ceiling is as high as, like, as much as their floor moved up. I don't know if their ceiling moved up that much.
Mm,
I'll say that as far as them as a team, they're solid. They're a good solid team. Can probably compete with anybody in the league. Um, but it's gonna have to be proven. Um,
Of course, of
so
course.
but yeah, all due respect to them putting it together this fast, and there's other threats out there. We haven't really played Atlanta yet. I don't think they're playing well either, as far as their record, but not gonna take them for granted because of the record, right?
right.
Knowing the outcome of the playoffs last year, so that's gonna be
Although
it.
I will
Mhm.
say, just quick, they might have turned the corner last night. The way they came out last night was like old Atlanta feel. So maybe they're getting it
Right.
together. But go
Yeah.
ahead.
and,
They lost what's his name too. They lost Hunter for about 2 months
Right,
or so with a
right.
wrist
mm,
injury, I believe it was.
mm. But I mean, and their mo as of last year was slow start, come on as one of the best teams in the leagues, you
Hmm.
know, to close out. We were similar in that fashion. So
Right.
it's again, that's why I said it's still early. Um, even if it's not 20 game mark, like I'm also not gonna panic until we're under 500 or 500, because I think that's where we have to kind of stay at until we peak. And that's one of the things I think we agreed upon prior to the season. Like if we could just stay around 500 early, and then once we peak, go on that run. So we're right about there, or a little above that point. So I'm not too down on them, but this is gonna be a downer of a podcast because I got a lot of gripes that
Oh, I'm 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 down. I'm
I,
glad you can remain
Yeah, yeah.
optimistic.
You picked
But
a good
you
time.
right, right, right.
um Mitch, I was one of those people that was super high on Mitch. You know, pay him 15 now is what I said, and I'm not opposed to it still, but we got to see more from him. We definitely got to see more from him. Um, the way he got abused or embarrassed or whatever you want to call it against Turner last time they played each other, you
Right,
know that Turner is the new center in the NBA, right? The prototypical current center of the NBA. He's probably not even like one of the best ones. Like if
right.
you want to, he's not probably top five of them right now. Potential, yeah,
Mhm.
but you know the fact that he did what he did to Mitch, and he had no response kind of on the offensive end. Um, didn't really react and take it personal on the defensive end. You know that kind of scares me long term.
Right.
Hmm.
And I've never been that guy. Mitch was always my guy. I'm like, pay him now, keep him. Potential, he could survive off what he does at an elite level in the league, and I still believe that. But I'm getting itchy to see some more offensive development from him. Uh,
Offensive development, you said?
Absolutely. I think it's going to be needed. And if he's not affecting, if he's getting killed by his opponent, his man to man opponent or whatever,
Hmm.
and then his numbers, you know, at his best right now
Right.
aren't going to be enough. We're going to need more. Um, so that's the way I'm looking at it. Like that 8 points, and even if it's 10 rebounds, I think we're gonna need more than 8 points from him when we're going up against the prototypical new center.
But I think with Mitch, okay, we could say that offensively, but defensively, he's not up to par. Like he's just not there. And like I said, I've been chalking it up to this point to him getting back into shape, to the weight and things of that sort. But he does not look the same on the defensive end. And I'm willing to give him some more time,
In in,
if
in
it
what
is that.
in what aspect specifically?
He doesn't look like he's in shape, that he has the stamina. His rebounding is okay, but that offensive rebounding put back Mitch that we're used to seeing, I don't see that. The
Hmm.
lob threat, I don't see that either now. Some of that is they're missing him because sometimes he is um he's open. He's just not the same active Mitch on the defensive end.
I I'll say this too. I mean, I agree. I think a lot of that is stamina, which I think will improve. Um, Hopefully he can adjust to the weight and keep it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? He doesn't have to lose it to get back to where he was. Um
Mhm.
I don't think he looks, you wouldn't say he looks bad defensively though, right? You're just saying not up to where he was or what
Right.
we're accustomed to.
Right. And he's not able to sustain it, you
I've
know?
definitely noticed that stamina. Like
Right.
that's one
Right.
hundred percent.
Right.
I agree. I mean, I agree. But I think all that will come over time. I don't think it's like he's a lost cause or even like a liability in that area. I think when you talk of liability, I'm starting to see it offensively, and part of that is I think him being missed. I agree because I thought with the additions of Kemba, with the addition of Fournier, I thought he would be located more frequently,
Right.
and it doesn't seem to be the case. It almost seems like he's forgotten on the court. You know what I mean? Like if you're not
Hmm.
doing what we want you to do defensively, like he doesn't even get rewarded unless it's from certain guys.
Right.
Get the block, and he's also the stamina thing. He's not running the floor like he used to. Like that was a big part of his offense last year. Just actually outrunning guys. The way Toppin does. You know what I mean? Like he used to take off. What do you think, Ron?
Um, I agree with Steph. I've been kind of saying it for a minute now with Mitch, but I will say I did notice that the past 2 to 3 games, really the past 2 games, he's been a lot more active. He's starting to seem like he's moving better. Not active the way we're used to seeing Mitch, but a lot better at getting around the court, and that's evident also in the defensive end because he's sneaky now with the blocks. Like I wanted to really talk bad about Mitch the other day, and then I looked at the box score. He finished with 5 blocks, and I don't know. I guess I was so focused on what he wasn't doing, I didn't realize
Mm-hmm.
what he was doing. So in that case, I'm gonna say that I do notice that he's starting to move better, but he's definitely not where he needs to be yet. So
Hmm.
maybe it is, the law of averages and the way things normally work, where we say give this guy, another 5, 10 games, and maybe he'll be a lot closer to where he was. I mean,
Right.
honestly, I don't really think that he's going to get back to the old Mitch. I just think that weight that he put on, it's just too hard to kind of get your body right and up to speed throughout the course of a season. Maybe if this was still preseason or something, he had more time to kind of work out the kinks and get in the gym and kind of do cardio and other things to get his. I think maybe it'll be different, but to learn how to get your body up to speed and get back to your old ways, I don't think he's going to be able to get that during the season. He'll get better, but he won't be where he was. So, but I will say he looks like he is trying to be a lot more active out there. I think he knows that he's not playing the way he expects to play, especially if he's trying to win Defensive Player of the Year or stuff like that. That's his own goals.
Right.
He's got to get better.
Yeah. And he falls down a lot. I've never seen him fall down as much as this. Is this like what is it? Is it a balance issue? What?
Nah,
Yeah.
he's been like that because somebody pointed that out last year,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
and it's definitely continued. I think he is the key to fixing our problem, but probably not in the way that most people would think. Um, I think we got to start Noel. I
Yeah.
think that fixes the starting lineup. I think that changes everything. I think it puts a little bit more chemistry as far as that first unit. It because you can argue there's 3 new starters opposed to 2, with
Hmm.
Mitch being reacclimated.
Right.
Made it.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like just Noel's veteran leadership. I'm not talking about any physical attribute, any skill set, any just his veteran leadership will change things for them in that starting lineup. And I kind of made this argument last year. Um, I just think Mitch fits that second unit better. Actually when I said it, I had made the argument that RJ and Mitch should be in the second unit. So in the people's defense, they killed me more for saying RJ should
Of
play in the
course.
second unit than they did about about
More of
Mitch.
them are saying it now. Did you read the chat when we was on Nothing But Knicks? More of them are saying that RJ should be in the
Yeah,
start in the
yeah,
second unit.
yeah, absolutely. I've definitely noticed it. Unfortunately, I didn't get the receipts of the people that was killing me last year. Oh, because I'm definitely good for that. But Yeah, I think he fits the second unit a little bit better. I think there's a lot less pressure on him as far as like making mistakes, and
Mhm.
things of that nature. In that second unit, because now you're facing the opposing team's second unit guy.
Right.
Um, so I honestly believe that that is the fix to our starters problems,
Not
and
part
it's
of the fix. You think the full fix is just
I
Noel?
mean, I mean, I I think part of it, but once you fix one thing and things start to look better, you know what I mean. Like you don't have to rush to fix everything at once. You know what I mean. I think that's just like a big that's plugging a big hole right now of what we're missing. And again, I really think it's just the veteran leadership, just the fact that he's been in the league a lot longer. He knows what to expect more, like he's just more reliable. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, and I'm not talking about health. I'll just be like, what he does on the floor,
Right.
knowing how to talk to his teammates, yell plays out, things of that nature. And you know, we seen what he did last year. I'm gonna always keep going back to that because
Yeah.
we seen it with our eyes. You know what I mean? It's not like just imagining or saying, "Oh, I think he can." He showed it.
Yeah.
Um, well, but what are your thoughts of making that change? If you think that would help, and do you
I'm
think
okay
it's
with it, but I think we
even
need more
possible?
than that in that starting lineup. But go ahead, Ron.
Well, I'm on the same page, but I'm not quite there with everything. So I feel like I agree that one, I think Mitch would be better served on the second unit. I think that would help his game a lot. And if we have Noel in that starting lineup, which is what he got accustomed to last year, and kind of helped us to win a lot of games, I think that would benefit the starting lineup. I think Quickly or Rose being inserted into the starting lineup and Kimba dropping to the bench would help the starting lineup. I'm not saying it would help the bench. I'm saying it would help the starting lineup.
Right.
Um, and I think RJ moving to the second unit would help RJ, but I don't know if that would help the starting lineup because I think if you move RJ out of there, then that defense is really
Hmm.
looking crazy on the perimeter. Now you might be able to get by a little bit with Burks if you
You would
promote him,
you would
but
have to.
Burks' defense is kind of like up and down sometimes. You
I
know what I
think
mean?
you would have to
He's better than
relegate.
Fournier, though.
Yeah, you would have to relegate Burks to the two guard, and
Hmm.
put the pressure on Fournier. Granted, we know his defensive deficiencies. I honestly think he would guard threes better than twos because of his problem on defense. Like he's still a tough guy, you know what I mean? So if he's
Right.
outsized or outweighed, he's still gonna fight defensively. So I'd rather
Hmm.
put him in that position with maybe a lesser mobile guy. I think twos are a little bit more mobile, running around the floor, things of that nature than the threes. I think that would help him as well. So I'm not I think, and then putting Burks on the twos where he has defensive deficiencies as well, but it won't necessarily be a size thing at the two guarding the opposing team's two as opposed to
Right.
three. You know what I mean? So it takes away
Right.
one of the problems he has defensively. So,
Yeah.
I think it could work. Um, it would be very bold of Tibbs. I know the Knicks
Hmm.
community would lose it. They would lose their mind. Um, but I mean, so hypothetical, we do it and we win 4 or 5 in a row. No one's gonna be. Well, I can't even say that because there's still people like, oh, we needs more minutes.
Right.
Like,
Right. Right.
and
Yeah.
I mean, you're
Right.
not
Right.
you're not wrong, but you know what I mean. Like, where are they gonna come from? Are we
Right.
sticking with a small ball lineup to
Right.
do it?
Well, I will
Right.
tell you this: short term, well, long term, I would love to see a move at point guard. It could be Rose or Quickly, either one. in the starting lineup and Noel instead of Mitch in the starting lineup. That would be my long term move right
Me
now.
too.
Um, and there's another piece to it, but I'll put that piece as a part of the short term too, because that can carry over. The short term being that we don't know if Noel's going to play tonight, for example, is just the point guard change. Just either quickly arose in the point guard change, and the other change that I think would help long term and short term would be moving RJ from the three to the two. I think that
Right.
would be a big help for RJ on the offensive end, and on the defensive end, I think it's an easier cover for him, and he can do a lot more with that. And if Fournier gets beat at the three, it is what it is. He's getting beat at the two. So
He's getting
at
beat at
least
the
maybe
two
we
as
get
well.
better
Yeah,
defense from RJ at the two.
Right.
and back to what I just said. I think he's better suited guarding the threes, even with his disadvantage, just because of he's still a fighter. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like he's not a guy who just doesn't. I just think he has a better advantage fighting against a taller, stronger guy and just giving his all than a faster, um, I don't know if you want to say smoother, but you know what I mean, like savvy
right,
guy.
right.
You know what I mean? Like then it kind of looks embarrassing at times.
I
Um,
will say though that it may help RJ offensively, but defensively, we have no control over what the other team does. The other team
That's
may
true.
still put their threes on him
hmm
Yeah, that's a good
and
point.
put their two on Fournier. Um, I'm with Noel starting, and I'm also with changing the point guard. I think that it'll affect the second unit a little bit, and that's what people will say, or the second unit won't be as crisp. But we really need that first unit to be tight. So I'm
yeah,
okay if the second unit takes a small hit in continuity if it helps the first unit.
and
But
if we I'm
mhm.
sorry, if we do it, it has to be Rose. I'll get into that why in a
Yeah,
second.
I would prefer it to be Rose too. And but it only works with Rose if Randall is going to be off the ball. Otherwise, you're just wasting him if Randall is still doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
That's a
I
Hmm.
great
think,
point.
but I'm hoping that Rose is very strong minded. It's not even strong minded. He's an alpha too,
hmm
so I could see him waving Randall off,
hmm
and running the offense. So it's just you got two with Rose and Randall. If Randall's not ready or willing, I don't know how that's gonna work because now Rose is relegated to basically playing off the ball off of Randall.
Right.
Yeah, I think Randall has like ultimate respect for Rose in the sense that
Mhm.
he's not even gonna he's gonna just fall back. You know what I mean? Like and he still have his moments, obviously, but he's not gonna be as demanding. Like we're not gonna see this as soon as Rose pass have
Right,
court.
right, right, right.
You
Right.
know what I mean? So I think I mean I'm not mad at it. I would make that change as well. I think Kimber changing Kimber and Rose as far as starting and bench. I don't think that affects the bench as much as actually putting quickly in the starting lineup. I think that affects the bench a lot more because now what role does Kimba have in that second unit? Do you
Hmm.
want him to be quickly? Do you like because that's I mean that I don't think that I think he still kind of needs the ball in his hand, and that takes it out of Rose's hand. So I think the switch for those two in the starting lineup works a lot more. Even putting quickly in the starting lineup, I think is potential problems as well. How aggressive is quickly going to be in the starting lineup?
He's gonna have to
Is
play off of Randall, like
but that
everybody
and
else is doing.
but that's what I mean. Like he
Mhm.
Right.
doesn't have a chance to just be who he is. I think Kemba can
Right,
still be
right,
who he
right.
is in the second unit. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he could probably be more of who he is in the second unit.
Right.
So you know, actually, I agree 100%. Rose and and Noel starting and that's how we ended the season last year. That's how we ended the season on that run last year. That's what got us the fourth seed. Um, I keep it rocking.
Yeah. Well, let me just, if you don't mind, Tony, let me just give a quick shout out to the chat. Only because I'm limited here off of my phone. Normally, I'd be all up in the chat saying salute to everybody, but just want to say salute to Eric Surreal, Worldwide L was good, Tricky Nicky. I'm happy for you, brother. I know you got that job. Congrats to you.
Yes, yes. Shout out to Tricky Nicky.
Streets is buzzing. CT in the building. Be
All right,
civilized, my
my
man.
guy.
Alton Lee, Dripmore. Yeah, man. Thank you to all you guys. Appreciate you. And I wanted to say that I think that one of the things that I don't think is going to happen at all tonight is, first off, we're going to see everything the same way we've been seeing it tonight because Tibbs had his practice, so he's gonna try to fix what he already got the way he got it because that's the way he set it up. So if it don't work this week, I think this is a telling week because we're playing against against most of the competition that we should be able to beat,
Right.
except for I think we get the Bulls this week at the end of the week, maybe.
We do.
But
Sunday.
we should be able to beat the Pacers, even though they beat us last time. But we should be able to beat them. And we definitely should be able to beat Houston, and we should be able to beat Orlando. But if we have one of those weeks where it don't work against these teams, then I think you might see Tibbs shake something up. Small, but he'll shake something up. But I think he's gonna just run out there with what we normally see every day for these next couple games.
Yeah, I mean, I firmly believe if Noel was in shape coming into the season or ready to play, I think he would have got the starting job. I think once, Mitch was ready first, I
Mm-hmm.
think you can't really, you know what I mean? You can't just take it away.
Yeah, that's a
And then
shame too.
and
That would
and
have been better, man.
and then I am somewhat concerned with um Tibbs just not changing the starting lineup at all, just because we seen how he rocked with it all last year when people asked, or consistently, like, yo, you're not thinking about you know starting roles or whatever
Hmm.
adjustment, and he's nope, this is who got us where we at. So it's probably a slim chance we see any changes, but
Slim. Slim.
wishful
Yeah.
wishful thinking from
And you know
from
what?
from us.
When Noel came in, he came in sharp. I mean, he came in
Right,
like he was playing all season.
Yes, yes, yep, yep.
right.
He looked like he did not miss a beat, and his minutes with the starters, like, because I want to say either the first or second game he came back, he kind of got benched and
Mm-hmm.
for him. You know what I mean? Like, and so he played the majority of his minutes with the starters, and yeah, he looked like it fit like a glove.
Hmm.
So yeah, man. What else do I have? I had a whole list, but I can't find I can't find my paper.
Well, all right. Well, while you getting it together, I got a question for both
Yes,
of
Okay.
yes.
y'all. Being that we know that the Knicks finally got a chance to practice, and maybe they because my whole thing is my big thing is I feel like them not being able to practice, Tibbs can't focus on the rookies. Okay, because with the limited practices they have, whatever they work on real quick, their sets, he got to worry about who's gonna be playing. He can't be looking at guys on the bench, that may or may not get in the game. But I think hopefully in these full practices or whatever he had going on this weekend, he had a chance to kind of look at Grimes a little bit more, maybe get a taste of Deuce. But really, it's about Grimes because I don't know, for whatever reason, maybe it's the fact that he's a number one pick. They just seem to view Grimes kind of like how I felt like they viewed Obi and Quickly last year. Like if somebody was gonna play, it would be Grimes. So I'm hoping that maybe we might see a little Grimes in these next couple of games. You guys think that's a possibility?
I, I think it boils down to us struggling, to be
Mm,
honest. So
Right.
so if I'm not gonna be wishing for it because I think for him to get his opportunities, that means somebody's not doing their job. To be
right.
honest, you
That's
know what I
true.
Right.
mean?
Yeah. And this is the thing to play Grimes. Now you're talking about expanding the rotation to 11. Not too many teams in the NBA, if any, does that. So I think if Grimes is going to be in the rotation, he's taking somebody's spot and making them
Hmm.
situational. I don't see Tibbs playing 11 in terms of getting him consistent minutes. I don't see him, for example, even if Kimba or Rose starts off bad, I don't see him saying, "All right, let's give them 10. We're gonna give Grimes," and doing that every game. Like if somebody's having a bad game, I do see it because he did it once. But on an every night basis, for him to play the rookies, that means he's playing 11 or somebody is out of the rotation, because
Right.
it just messes up your lineups too. When you're playing 11, you don't get a chance to get into a groove because now you're playing what, 10 minutes a game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I,
Well, I
I will
agree
say
with you on
this.
that.
I will say this though. I do believe Grimes is playing well in practice, and I
Hmm.
think that is a direct cause to the improved play of Burks. I will say that.
Mm. Yeah,
Mm.
I see what you're saying.
He
Yeah.
feeling the heat.
That might be true. That might be true. Well, I just think that uh, you're right, Steph. And traditionally, and how most of the teams play in the league, 10-man rotation is kind of pushing it, right? Not a
Hmm.
lot of teams go more than that. But I think this Nick team should be a 12-man rotation
Mm.
because I think
Mm.
I know, and it's not going to happen. This is a Tibbs team, but I think that's how they should be playing because I think that they should be running up and down the court. I still think they should be pushing the envelope, and because of that, you want to stay as fresh as possible, so you use more people. And I think he's not doing that. The other thing I think is that we've got a bunch of guys in this team that should be playing less minutes. I think Kimba should be playing less minutes. I think Taj should be playing less minutes. And I think while they still get themselves back into shape, Mitch and Nerlens should be playing less minutes. They should be really staggering stuff so that they can get out there and give you a healthy, uh, um, you know, performance rather than overplaying them. Because it seems like, you know, that's when we start when Mitch is up and down running the court, getting all winded, putting his hands on his knees and stuff, we start to see some bad play. With Nerlens, the longer he's out there, which is a knock that people said before that he can't be a starter. It seems like when he's a starter, he plays more minutes. Freak stuff starts to happen. He gets hurt. So I don't know what that's about, but I'm just saying, like,
Mhm.
because of those things and the fact that Kimba, we know Kimba's, his defensive issues, plus the fact that we do want to try to prolong his health and Rose a little to a certain extent. I just think there's
Mhm.
minutes that are out there, but Tibbs
The
is forced to feel like he needs to play these guys longer than he
I
should.
don't think there's minutes to be out there. I mean, 12 to play, nobody does that. To play 12 guys, you're going to have some guys just playing 5 minutes a game. Some
Well,
guys
that's
just
but I'm
playing.
okay with that. I'm okay with Grimes getting 5 minutes and maybe Deuce getting five or Jericho Sims getting 5 minutes.
But
Just
that
a case.
somebody else minutes goes down by
Oh, well,
five
I see
though,
what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
who's
see what you're
better
saying.
than they are. You know what I
the
mean?
the only reason I could see it like it happening, not I don't think it's gonna happen just because it's tips.
Right.
First and foremost, but the reason I think it could work, and if we're sticking to this point forward role from Randall, that's the only reason why I think it could work, because now he's taking responsibility from that point guard position. So let's say 2 minutes a piece less for both those point guards, Rose and Randall. I mean Rose, and, excuse me, and Walker. Um, so I could see like them both getting 2 minutes less a piece. So that's 4 extra minutes for what I mean for what one person. Um, but us playing that positionless basketball, so it could work, but I don't see it happening under Tibbs. Like we see him literally stick to the rotation all year long last year. Like when you know people was trashing Elf, what I mean, like consistently.
Right.
Maybe like maybe he don't pay attention to it, but there's no way he didn't hear about it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like
yeah, yeah.
somebody brought this. and the media asked him damn near after every game, like, yo,
It's true.
no, I'm sticking with the lineup. No,
But
yeah,
we know why now, because of that point of that point of attack defense. Because now without having Peyton, we don't have that, and you get to see the problems it creates. And I think it was Ron who brought that up. The perimeter defense is poor, and now we're funneling it to our bigs, and Randall's not good off the ball. Mitch is not who he used to be. Noel is hurt. So, we got poor perimeter defense, and
mm-mm.
then our front court is just not great, at this point through injuries or play, whatever the reason is. And that's creating more of a problem as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's that's they just as much as I understand it, I still don't. I still think that he needs to figure out a way to at least get Grimes some minutes. I mean, we complained about Obi last year. Obi was getting 6 or 7 minutes, and we were like, man, we can't see too much of this guy. But what we did see, we liked at certain points when he did play well towards the playoff time, right? And that carried over to this year. He worked on some stuff, and now that he's playing better, we still like trying to see if we can get him 15 minutes. He's lucky if he gets 11 minutes. So, it's I get it though. Minutes are hard. In that case,
Yeah,
minutes
Yeah.
are hard
yeah,
to
I
come
think
by.
you just gotta but Obi was in the rotation.
yes,
It
Right.
was 10, and he was one of them. So if you're gonna
and,
put Grimes in and take somebody out, I'm all for that.
Mm,
I, we could argue that he had the longest leash, or like he didn't get any reprimand for bad play last year. He
right.
he
Right.
never did he never dipped out of the rotation. He was in it the whole time, never became situational. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so and I think Queen agrees. I don't think if there was one bit of unfair treatment, it might have been it. Like, he never
Right.
got punished like some of the, or he never got his spot taken or reduced like some
Mhm.
of the the rest of the team. Um
Hmm.
I will say this, I do love the fact that Tibbs has benched the starters twice this year. I absolutely love it. That's something I don't think he was comfortable doing last year. I think last year, it was deserving a few times, and you know he kind of stuck with his guns, stuck with his guys, and this year we're seeing even more development, I guess, from Coach Tibbs, where he's willing to sit anybody and everybody if they're
Mhm.
not playing well. And
Right.
I do love that. I think that also does slightly open the door a little bit for a Grimes, or whom I think Grimes is the likely candidate to get an increase in minutes if or enroll if someone is. So I think it's a step towards that. So maybe we see some change in Tibbs' mentality,
Maybe.
but we're gonna be witnessing it for the first time if we do, because he would have never benched the whole starting unit for a fourth quarter last
No.
year.
Right.
And a big part of it the next game, I think he brought them in what, the last 3 minutes or so?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And he was wrestling with it. You could tell. He was wrestling with it, because it was like we got up two. He didn't do it. They tied the game or something, and then he called the timeout. You know what I mean? But had we never lost that lead, once we got it, he might have stuck with that second unit again.
Yeah. I want to see. I'm going to be paying attention to this game tonight closely to see the interaction between Tibbs and Obi, because from other Nick people in the community like Freezy and Divine and these guys, we didn't really get to see it. I guess I missed it. Some people did see it on the live broadcast
Hmm.
Mhm.
when he took Obi out with 3 minutes left. Apparently, Obi was
And
pissed.
yeah, he was
So
pissed. I
yeah,
seen it.
so I want to see how that interaction translates into tonight's game. Will Obi get to play a little bit more because he's showing a little fire in his belly? That's another thing about Obi that some of the Knick fans have mentioned and complained about, and our team in general, that we're too soft. that we seem like we're real nice guys. We don't have no fire. The only person who really has fire is Randall, which we've seen. But so maybe Obi kind of maybe that was endearing to Tibbs, or maybe he didn't like it at all. But maybe get to see if it changes anything with him, because I definitely think out of everything that's going on, even if your rotation is what it is, I'd give Obi more minutes. He is in the rotation, and he deserves more minutes than a lot of other people on that court. He just gives more effort than a lot of these people naturally.
I,
He's out there
I
moving.
I think at this point, with Tibbs benching the whole starting unit, I think if it has to be Randall, it will be Randall. You know what I mean? Like if it's just him not not giving that energy, I don't I could see Tibbs actually benching Randall a fourth quarter. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying like benching him for good, but like I could see that happening if especially if Obi is producing that particular night. Um, but it's
I would
gonna
be
be hard.
shocked.
It's gonna have to be a like a 7 for 7 night for Obi.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you know what I
I
mean? Like
would be
it's gonna have
shocked.
to be
Yeah.
a 8 for 10 night for Obi for 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 it to get to that. It's not gonna be a it's not even gonna be a 3 for 5 night. I don't think. I think it has to be, you know
Right.
what I mean? Like yo, he took 8 shots and only missed two, or he hasn't missed a shot and took 6 shots. So
Right,
it has to be
right.
something like that
Something like
for it
that.
to.
I
But
think the
I
best.
can
Oh,
see
go
it
ahead,
now.
son.
No, I was just saying I can see it now.
Let's see. I don't. I would. I can't imagine Tibbs taking Randall out of a game for Obi or not putting Randall back in. We will see. I think the best way for Obi to get more minutes is to play with Randall, to play small ball. I just he's stuck behind Randall. I don't see him ever getting to the point where Randall is just playing 28, 30 minutes a game and Obi is playing 18, 20. Maybe like you said, Tone, if he's lights out and Randall hasn't been playing well, maybe he'll delay bringing Randall back in the game some, or Randall just stunk up the joint. But you also got to keep in mind, Randall is Tibbs' guy. Randall is the best player on the team. I doubt, unless it's an extreme situation, that he starts taking away from Randall's minutes. We shall see. And the only thing else I'll say about Obi is, yes, he's gotten better, yeah, but some people are going too far that he's better than Randall.
Trade Randall.
Right now, the only
No.
thing he's really doing is running the floor, which we need, stretching the defense, and dunking the ball. He's not shooting the three that well. So I'm not going to get carried away with Obi, but I do like the energy he brings. I do like the way the last game he was battling on the boards and what have you. But I'm not going to get carried away that we should be dipping into Randall's minutes to play him more. I just think he's in a bad place. He's just playing, behind Randall. And unless we go small ball, which we can tonight, Noel is out.
It's official.
It's official. We should be able to go small ball tonight. Randall can guard Turner.
Yeah, yeah.
Obi's gonna have his handful with Sabonis though. you know, but
Actually,
Yeah,
I would probably put Obi on Turner. Now that you say that, like I wouldn't even want to because like he'd get 3 quick fouls messing around with Sabonis, like
Mhm.
just being a savvy vet again.
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and I think actually I agree with you, Steph. I don't think he can cut into that many more of Randall's minutes. But I do think there's minutes to be had, especially with Noel being out, because this is
Absolutely.
going to come down to what Tibbs did last time. It's going to be Mitch and Taj. That's what he's going to do. And I think Obi can cut into some of Taj's minutes if he's active on the defensive end. Just
Right.
has to, be around the area, try to affect shots, and don't get beat badly. And I think
Right.
that can earn him some of Taj's minutes, because if
Yeah,
there's
no doubt.
anybody to get minutes from, it's Taj. I mean, he's the one guy that he won't mind giving up the minutes. And, I think Tibbs doesn't want to use him as much, but he feels like he has to in situations. So,
But that
I
means going small ball, and Tibbs seems not
right.
to be, a fan of it.
And oh, one
Honestly,
more thing I
I
wanted
don't
to add.
even
I'm sorry,
I
Tony.
wouldn't even be mad if Mitch's minutes got reduced more than
Oh, yeah,
Taj in particular, man. I mean, Taj don't need more than like 15 minutes a game anyway. You know what I mean? Like anytime he's more than that, I think that's dangerous. You know what I mean? But those 15 minutes, like the things he does is stuff that you have to learn throughout your career. Like the way he sets screens, again, I think it's priceless. Like best screen setter on the team. He doesn't have the vertical reach to block shots, but he still blocks shots. He still makes shots tough down low in the post. So I think Taj needs a minute at least it's his normal 15. You know what I mean? Nothing more than
right.
that.
Well,
Yeah.
salute to Kanal. Always a pleasure, bro. Salute to Andrew. Um, the other thing I was thinking, because I keep killing Obi sometimes, because I feel like, man, Obi could be so much better if he got that jump shot to start falling again. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know
Mm-hmm.
how explosive he can be if he can pull those guys out. But,
Yeah.
I started to watch a little bit more of Obi, and granted, Obi still got a lot of work to do on the offensive end to get better. But the defense in the NBA is kind of suspect, man. These guys don't play really good defense. Obi can still get his in the lane. So I
Oh
think
yeah.
if he just gets aggressive and say, you know what, I've been shooting pretty poor lately. My percentages are dropping. It's hurting the team. I'm just gonna drive in and try to dunk on everybody. Whatever he's got to do.
Mm-hmm.
If he just
Mm-hmm.
goes aggressively at that, I think he can still really affect the game.
I don't even
Oh yeah.
care if he misses his shots. It just hit the rim. When he shoots
Right.
them air balls like straight over the rim, like or straight like to the whole side, like those piss me off more than anything.
And he was better last year, wasn't he? From the three, I don't
Yes,
know what
yes.
happened. I was
Well,
like,
that's why I
Volume,
don't want him
volume.
you
volume
think so?
yet. I don't want him shooting the three from the corner. I think he's a visual dude. I think he needs to see the backboard. So I
Those those be the ones too. Those definitely be the ones.
And you
I'm
know what?
just
yeah,
I've seen
man.
him put the ball on the floor and go into the lane and later. He has great body control. You're like, he's not somebody that just dunk. Like when he's going in, he has different release points. He has great body control. So yeah, maybe he should do that. Like drive in a little more.
Like sometimes with him, it looks like it's just focus because and like I think he's just too quick. He got to slow himself down. Obi's energetic, and it looks like it
Right.
affects his shot too. Even at the free throw line, you notice how many times Obi misses the first free throw and then he knocks down the second one easily. Like it's just
Yeah.
juice. He juiced up, man. He's so pumped up, energized. It's good, but it's
Yeah. You know what's gonna help though? If the first unit can get it together, I think now you can bring rookies along. Like if you think about last year, like our starters, we had roles settling down. You can bring rookies along when your bets are solid and they playing well because you don't really
mm,
need a lot from them. When
hmm
the team is the way it is now, especially that front unit,
who
like we ain't got time to nurse nobody.
who wa-
You know,
right.
who was it that asked about a blowout win? Who was that on MBK? Somebody asked when we gonna get a blow. But again,
oh,
that's
okay,
that's what it's gonna take, like to the point where we're solid enough that we're winning by a large portion
right,
for them to kind of get those opportunities. When the games are tight and the games are close, you
right,
know what I mean?
right,
Like it's either gotta be up big or just stinking the joint up at
right,
this point for them for them to get
right.
get the opportunity. But he ain't if it's close back and forth. He ain't give. They ain't gonna. All right. Well, let's see what Grimes can give us.
Especially
You
Right,
know
not
what I
right.
right.
mean? Like, let's see if he could bring us home. Like,
Yeah, yeah. Especially not right now when the bench mob is getting the back page of New York media. He's like, no, I got to be careful. As soon as I bring these guys in, the starters are gonna drop
Right,
their heads.
right, right,
so
right.
we about are we're over a quarter away? No, right?
Not yet.
All right,
That would
just
be like
about
20. This is going to be
20,
game 14.
14.
14, right?
All
Mm.
right. So, well, anyway, quick three part question.
Mhm.
Biggest nick
Ooh.
of the season so far, biggest bruise of the season so far, and then of course I gotta get a positive in there. so so biggest nick, biggest bruise, biggest
Well, let me
positive.
start.
Yeah, go
My
ahead,
biggest
Chris.
nick is Kemba. And, when the season started, I had no concerns about his play. If you remember, my concern was always about his availability, was not about whether he would be able to help us. I thought that, even if he wasn't Charlotte's Kemba, he would still give us something. He would still be a positive. And other than that Charlotte's game, that's not the case. And I just think I had us third if everything broke right.
You
And
did.
part of breaking right was Kemba, just having a bigger role on this team and playing better. And that's not the case. So I just felt like our ceiling is a little lower, not just because of that and some other things. So I think that's my biggest nick. As far as my bruise is just all of the hate. Randall's my guy. And by no stretch is he's perfect. Like I said it before, he's clunky, he's inefficient, he takes bad shots, but this guy really cares, and this guy really, wants the Knicks to win. And he's just taking a lot of heat from the Knicks fans, and some of it is deserved, as he tries to find his way. So he's not playing as well as he played last year. I know he wanted to come in and prove that it wasn't a 1 year wonder. It's still early, it's just not looking good. So that's a little bruise for me. Just that he's not playing well and he's getting a lot of heat right now. And I think a positive is that we're over 500. Playing the way we've played with our perimeter defense not being great, Mitch not being great, Noel being injured. Remember, last year it was like a symphony. We were a good team because we had that chemistry and everybody was on a string defensively. We were more synchronized. And right now, we're not, and we're still over 500. So that's a plus for me.
And even last year, it took time for us to hit our stride. So,
It did.
you know, I
We
think
had to
I
make
think
that little move, maybe
yeah.
another one. We had to bring Rose in. Maybe we need another little tweak.
But I mean, I also think we're ahead of schedule as far as like if you're just comparing it to where we were last year. So
Hmm.
that could be taken as a positive. A positive also in what you said was the fact that the Kemba thing is just a nick and not a bruise. Like to me, for me, that's
Oh, I
that's a,
meant at the other. Which one was worse?
the
The
bruise.
The
bruise is
bruise,
worse.
the
Yeah.
bruise
Which
is worse.
Okay.
no,
Okay.
Kemba was the
Okay.
bruise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Randall is the Nick.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Switch it,
I was
switch
like,
it.
I was like,
I thought I got it wrong.
because I was like, yo, you was serious about that before the season.
Oh man, I didn't like the signing at all. It had nothing to do with Kemba. I
Hmm.
just felt like you had money, you got draft picks, you got young players. Don't bring in somebody who has question marks. Go for the sure thing. But nothing personal against Kemba for
Hmm.
sure.
Hmm.
Right.
Right.
Uh, I'm gonna say it's two parts for my Nick. Okay,
Mhm.
one part is not realistically understanding who Tibbs is and how this team was going to be run, thinking that I was going to see the rookies this year. So that's a
Right.
Nick for me because I was so hyped. When you watch the draft, you see Grimes, you see Jericho, and really forget about Jericho. No offense to him, but for me it was Deuce. Like I
Right.
wanted to see Deuce. So the fact of being able to see Grimes and Deuce was big, and I thought we were going to be so. Oh man, our team is going to be so deep. All these guys could come in. I'm like, but whatever. And so the
Mhm.
second part of that, Nick, is I think the acquisition. While I like the fact that he fell in our lap, and I like what it could have been, I think
Mhm.
it was probably the worst move in the offseason, which was getting Kemba, not because of defensive end. That's just a whole nother thing. I'm talking
Our
about,
worst move, right?
yeah, yeah, our
Okay.
worst move. Right, 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 right. I'm not talking about the defensive end. That's a team wide issue, right? But I'm talking about the progression, of quickly and of Deuce being able to be out there and get some minutes and try to start developing. really, I think it hurts quickly the most because quickly is improving. I think he's taken a step, and I think the more time we see him out there, we're going to see that he's improved from last year. So I think that signing of Kimba kind of hurt that because you could have had Rose in the starting lineup, and you could have had quickly coming off the bench, and then Deuce spelling both of them, which I think would have worked. It would definitely. You could tell me right now if I'm wrong, but I think if you had that action going right now, you would see a better output from those three than the three we currently have. Just overall for the type of play they would be giving us, I believe. But whatever, it is what it is. And then my bruise is just the overall Nick defense. Just and
Mm-hmm.
because even though I know that they're a little handicapped with the fact that they lost two of their better perimeter defense, better team perimeter defenders, their effort is just not always there. It's like a crapshoot. One game they got it, one game they don't, and that I say goes to the whole team. Their overall team effort on defense is a big bruise for me. Oh, and a positive. The positive is even though it doesn't look like it right now, I love the overall play of uh, RJ and the improvement of Obi. So those are the two positives that I look at. I'm really excited about what that can happen over time. You know, what can happen from that over time.
Mm-hmm.
Copy. Um, so my nick right now, and I'm hoping this doesn't develop into a bruise. But my nick right now is, I want to say 6, 12, 13 games. It might have been 3 games this year that somebody on the other team didn't have some type of career high,
Hmm.
some type of broke a, whether it's a record broken or their own personal career best. And
Right.
this is in wins and losses. Um, I will put an asterisk on there because I don't watch too many of other teams to know if this is a trend of the league, where you know what I mean, like this is just where the league's going, and people are having their best game every game, or you know what I mean, a different person every game. But I swear I can only think of 2 games, but I'm giving them an extra game where somebody, Miles Turner, 7 for 10 from 3-point range, like that's been happening, whether it's defensively blocked something, every single game this year. And I'm like, I'm just so, and it's not from us, it's
Right.
the opposing team.
I gotta
Um,
say right now, Tony, you making me feel worse, dude. I was only thinking about when it happens in the wins. I didn't think about the losses.
it's wins and losses. It's wins
Wow.
and losses. Oh, like almost every game this year. And I'm like, and I've been thinking about it, I've been harping on it. Like, is this happening, against other teams throughout the league, or is this really like our team's really getting up for us? And because that's been the mo anyway. Somebody kills
Mm-hmm.
us, you know what I mean? Like, and it's
Hmm.
usually the lesser known player that came in every year faithfully, you know what I mean, and killed us. But now it's like I thought that was something we was gonna overcome, and as of right now, it seems to be happening more frequently,
Right.
and not in spotlight games. Like
Right.
not in.
Right.
So it's tough. Bruce, it's the biggest. I mean, I got to go with the defenses as well. I think we all agreed that we were gonna take somewhat of a step back defensively,
Right.
without questioning, but um and again, it's still early. We could fix it, but I didn't think the lapses were gonna be this bad.
Right.
Um, and it's not something that I don't even know if you could just pinpoint it to Kemba or Fournier. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the lazy thing to do. I think the team defense took a step back as well. Like, I mean, granted, that's gonna have a part to do with it, but um, And I got another bruise, and it's the opposite end. It's the offensive lapses. I mean, we're
Mm-hmm.
going through 3 minute stretches, 5 minute stretches without a single point. So
Mm,
the same way I knew the defense was gonna take a step back, I was expecting that trend to stop, because that was something that bothered us. We went through last year as well. But I thought with the addition of those two guys, we wouldn't see it, and I feel like every single game we see that as well. A
right.
2 minute stretch, a 3 minute stretch, or even a 5 minute stretch where we haven't made a field goal. We're 0 for whatever, and
Yeah.
that's been killing us all year long. My positives are 100% Obi Toppin. Um, I knew he was going to take a step. I think he's exceeded a lot of people's expectations already, and I don't think he's at full peak yet. I don't think he's shown um you know what he's capable to do. Um,
Right.
if there's anybody that these two games where the bench got the minutes and it started set, if it benefited anybody the most, it has to be Obi, because he had a chance to be a part of success, a successful unit, or whatever the case. Um, Made minimal mistakes in that time, and these are pressure situations. But I attribute that to even him playing well in the playoffs, where it was the highest of pressures and biggest of moments, and he kind of played better than what he showed previously. So
Right.
Obi's 100% my biggest cheer, if you will, so far in the season. And like you said, Steph, the fact that we're still over 500,
Right.
and we haven't reached our peak yet. So I think another 5 or 6 games should be the point where we could really start judging them, and seeing who they are going forward. Like
Hmm.
we
Right.
could probably guess about, all right, this is not going to change. This is who they are. Um,
Right.
so hopefully we could put together a nice stretch coming up. Um, I appreciate you guys joining me. Let everybody get ready for tonight's game.
Yeah.
And to see everybody in the post game with MBK.
Definitely.
Um, any last words? Any upcoming shows or events?
Well, tomorrow, Queen's Court, 8:30. State's gonna be on with me. Tiffy Beeman is gonna be on with me, and somebody else. I'm not sure just yet.
No doubt, no doubt. 8:30, you say?
8:30.
Um, it's tomorrow, Tuesday. I'll
Tuesday.
be watching. I'll be
Okay.
watching from work, and on the ride home. That's a nice crew though. That's a
Yeah,
nice crew.
definitely. I'm
It's
excited.
it's gonna
Hey,
be
we're gonna
it's
get
gonna
some
be
RJ
interesting.
talk,
It's gonna
some
get
Randall
very
slander.
interesting. Very interesting. I if I could jump in, I'm gonna jump in, because I definitely don't want to. I'd love to be a part of that one.
Yeah,
Um, Ron.
Uh, so we have the Still Nick Fans podcast coming on tomorrow night, right after the Queen's Court. Which and actually, I'm gonna have to start filming in a little bit during the Nick game tonight. So because it's pre-recorded. Once again, for those out there in the chat that forget that it's pre-recorded. So we'll be filming that today, and it'll be airing tomorrow. And then we also have a new episode this Thursday at 8 p.m.
It's episode
of
two, right?
the yeah that show yeah that show too. So that'll be of the NBA report. So definitely, guys, tune in.
yeah,
We're gonna, it might look a little different this time. The first one was just the opening, kind of giving you a breakdown of the whole Eastern Conference. This one we may shorten it a little bit and focus on a couple more teams in depth, and do it like that because it's a lot to cover. And the other thing is, well, we appreciate the feedback from everybody out there and keep it coming. but we also don't want to do a disservice if we're talking about some of these teams. I realize now that there's actually some other fans that tuned in outside of Nick fans that actually wanted to hear a little bit about their team. So, we will try to be of service and
Right.
not be as Nick biased. Because
Right.
listen, but
It's
just don't
tough.
get it twisted. We Nick fans out here, so it is what it
It's
Yeah.
is.
tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
But definitely tune into that. And thank you for all the support and the love. And yeah, we'll go from there. But yeah, that Queen's Court show is going to be interesting, man. State is a firecracker. I love watching State.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, get your popcorn ready. Oh, but for sure, I appreciate you guys joining me as always. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys joining me first and foremost. Appreciate you, Ron, for shouting guys out individually as I didn't have them up. So
No
salute
problem.
to you for that. I definitely want to give a shout out to Uncle Fulio and the controversy. Missed you tonight, but I know you here in spirit. And everybody that reached out to me during my
Absolutely.
hiatus.
Yep.
When life
We're happy to
calls
have you
you.
back, bro.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
happy to be here, man. I definitely needed this. And it was tough to miss the last 2 weeks, but yeah, I'm back. Knicks is back. Your black is
Queen's
time.
Court next Monday. Have my
That's
crew
right.
back.
That's right.
Oh,
That's right.
oh, look at that. There you go.
Get another triple header. Might get a quadruple header
Right,
that day.
right, right, right,
Regular scheduled programming. But
right.
appreciate you guys. Shout out to the chat and go Knicks. Let's win.
Yeah.